Today, I want to talk about risk management. So, I'll cover a few topics. So, what is risk? So, what are the risk management principles? Uh, and what can we do to avoid the four primary ways to handle the risk in the professional world, right? And then I'll take you through the risk, how to manage the risk, and what needs to be done to track it. So all these stakeholders they can reduce the likelihood and severity of potential project risk by identifying them early. If something goes wrong, there will be already an option or action plan in place to handle it. This helps employee prepare for the unexpected and maximize the project outcome. Right. So what are the principles of risk? So there are 10 principles of risk management. So everyone has to manage the risk, right? Risk management makes jobs safer. Risk management enables project success. It reduces unexpected event, right? So if you manage it, then you can reduce the unexpected event in the project or anything that you're executing. It creates financial benefit. If you manage a risk, it creates a financial benefit. It saves time and effort, right? It improves communication. It prevents reputational issues. It benefits culture and it guides decision making. So if you manage all these, if you follow these principles, then I think risk management is quite easy. Okay. So so there are few ways, four primary ways to handle the risk in the professional world, no matter what industry you belong. So first is avoid risk, try to avoid it. If you cannot avoid it, reduce or mitigate the risk or transfer the risk. Or if none of them can be done, so accept the risk and move forward. Okay. So I'll talk about how to record and manage the risk. So you can see my screen, right? Risk management. So let's see and understand some of the terminology, which is very important to manage the risk, right? So first is risk ID. Okay. So if whenever you create a risk or you document the risk, it should have the risk ID number, right? Followed by a project code and then the risk ID. Okay. So risk types. It says a few types of risk, which is it could be a technical risk, right? Technical may include requirements, scope and objective, technology employed, technical processes, user interface, technology scaling, safety, security, reliability, and testing, right? So these are the various types of risk which can be included in the technical, right? Then the management risk, right? So it could be project management, it could be project resource, communication, interdependency. So there could be multiple depending on whichever category you're falling in, you put it under that particular type of risk. Organization risk. So culture could be one, sponsorship, business process, acceptance and support. These are coming under the organizational. Then commercial. So gender and legal contract, finance related, vendor stability. These are all coming under commercial risk. Types of risk: external, so political pressure from outside group, weather condition, something which is a natural calamity, could be the external actually. Description. So you have to ensure that you write the description of the risk. That is very important. Like, so one example is given, it is from the software testing. So doing performance testing of 20 user and client comes back and says, do it for 50 user. And then we need to mention that we need a load balancer, and that is a technical risk, right? So you have to mention it in the description. Owner. So who owns this risk? So there could be multiple people working in the project or on a particular assignment. So everybody has a role to play. It could be external, it could be customer, it could be in management, it could be a team, right? Team member. So a person has to be assigned. Phase. So if you when you're documenting the risk, so it is you've observed that risk in which phase actually. Okay, it could be a requirement phase or design phase, implementation phase, QA production phase, right? depending on which industry you work. So there could be multiple phases when you observe the risk, right? And how you track it. Date that, okay, so reported date. So when you have reported the risk, that is also very important. Impact level. So impact level means how it's going to impact our risk. So it has a severity. It is a low, medium, and high. Low says acceptable or little or no effect on the occurring of event. Medium says effect on the event is felt, but not that critical. Mitigation should be planned. High means unacceptable and serious impact on the occurring events and its outcome and might result in a disaster. Right. So it cannot be accepted. It has a serious impact on the occurring, right? And its outcome, it might result in disaster. So you have to highlight those, and that is very important to track those. Similarly, with priority. So it is again categorized in three. So low, high, and medium. Again, same definition. Occurrence and likelihood. So low, medium, and high. So what is the chances of occurrence actually? It is low, it is medium, or high, right? And these are important because you calculate the risk score. Okay. And here the number. So low is equivalent to 1. You can give whatever rating, a number that you want to give. Medium is 3 and high is 5, right? And then you calculate the risk score, right? That is how the score is getting calculated here. So risk score says impact, which we discuss here, impact, priority, and occurrence. If you multiply those three variables, parameter, then it gives a score. And risk score, which is between 1 to 25, is a low risk. And the risk score of 25 to 75, it is coming on a medium risk. And between 75 to 125, which is a high risk, which needs to be taken care carefully, right? And that is how it says risk score is calculated as a product of values and weightage assigned to impact, occurrence, and priority fields, right? Higher the risk score, higher is the risk criticality. All the critical risk must be raised to the management immediately, right? Contingency. It's a very good term action which we should follow it. It says that a plan should be made or should be there for the major risk that we think might occur during the course of the project, right? So there should be a contingency plan, right? In case the risk, whatever you mitigated doesn't work, you have the contingency plan. And mitigation means, so as soon as you identify the risk, what is the necessary step that should be taken to reduce its severity, right? And contingency is a fallback plan in case that risk occurs. Now, what is that you planned actually? Risk status. So it has occurred or it is non-occurred, right? So there could be two chances. Either it has occurred, it has not occurred, right? I just corrected, it is not occurred. Okay. Risk action. So there could be 5 states of the risk, right? It could be open, it could be closed, it could be reopened, it is independent or escalated, right? So you have done 5 things with this risk. Okay. Depends on or escalated to. So risk also could be has a dependency, right? Or it has escalation has been done for that risk. Day close is one of the important parameters. So when you're tracking it on a frequent basis, on a continuous interval, maybe on a weekly or bi-weekly, you have to mention it. What is it? Status of the risk, or when you're facing that risk actually, or closing it. And the phase close. So when that risk was closed, in which phase? Again, the requirement design, whatever phase that you have in your project life cycle, you can mention it. And the comments. So these are very important parameters. And if you have any question, you can definitely post your comment, post your queries in the comment, right? So let's go to title cover page. I'm going to again share this with you, and you can use it, right? And you can tailor it depending on you. So I have tailored it according to my need, right? It has amendment history. So when the document was created and revision number of the document, it talks about the document. So who is the originator of the document, who created it, when it was created and reviewed by, right? And then title. So it says, okay. So what is the project code? Whichever project you're working, it should the project will have the code. Okay. Project name. So airplane suspension, airplane X4D, and it will have the core project APAX4D. Okay, so this is the project code, and then a revision history. So whatever is that you document, okay, so it should reflect here with the revision history. Okay, now let's go to risk management and see how to manage, what needs to be done here to document the risk. To mention the project code, start date of the project, vertical, which vertical you belong, who's responsible for this project. Okay, so put that name, who's running this project, project name, project end date, customer if required, technical lead or architect of the project. So last delivery milestone, next delivery milestone, reviewed by and test lead. That means on which milestone you have started, and what is the last delivery milestone and what is the next delivery milestone, right? In the current phase, actually, the current scope. So you have a risk ID. So you can mention risk ID depending on your project name. So I say, okay, this is a risk and then a project name. You can put that project name also. Project code. So that becomes a project. This is called risk ID, risk type. It is external or technical or management. So we can select that category. Risk description, server procurement. So this is one of the risks. Server procurement is related to the unavailability with vendor, right? Who is the owner? So project manager owns it. Project manager. Which phase? So during design phase, when we require servers because it'll be used in the implementation. So we have identified in the design phase, right? So it's reported on 31st. And then what is the impact? Definitely the impact is high. Occurrence of likelihood high, and priority is high because the procurement might get delayed because it is unavailable, right? And the risk score vary now. So if you change the impact here, the risk score will change, right? If you make it medium, the color changes, right? So this, if you see the color has changed. Now, if you make it low, again, the color turns out to be it's low, right? So depending on the impact, occurrence, and priority, the score will change and you have to take the action accordingly. If it's high, it'll turn out to be almost red, and then you take the action accordingly, right? Everything is high, so it becomes important for me to have to track this risk. So what is the mitigation plan? So look for the other authorized vendor for alternatives. Okay. Contingency plan. That means in case that the mitigation does not work, so what needs to be done? You do not, the final option is, the last option is to rent the server on a cloud with same configuration, right? Since you want to procure a physical server and which is not available, so this is other option. So depending on your risk, so you can identify what needs to be done. You can have a discussion with the team or stakeholders to understand what. So it should be done not in silo, but it should be done in discussion with team actually, right? With different infrastructure team or IT team or the management complete. So a technical team should be there, a procurement team should be there. So understand what needs to be done to take care of this. So risk status, it has not occurred till now, right? But chances are there it might occur if action not taken on time, right? So dependent on, so escalated to the next escalation stakeholder. So I have an escalation matrix, right? I'm going to explain you that also what is escalation matrix and when to use that escalation matrix. Date close. So this is not closed. So that's why there's no date mentioned here. Phase close. This still not closed. And then the comments. You can put the comment, right? You can put the same comment. Discuss. So let's assume that today is 1st August. You can write the comment that, okay, so risk has been discussed. Risk has been discussed with team for next action. And that's fine. You keep on recording it. I mean, whenever you have a meeting on this risk, and you can record it to ensure that what has been discussed in the last few days, right? So this is a change that you have made now. So let's take this and server procurement, and let's go to the title page and say that this is server procurement delay risk has been discussed, right? Or risk or risk 01. So you can also put the ID to track, okay, this is what we discussed. Has been discussed has been discussed for next action. Okay. Project manager, put the project manager name, reviewed by and delivery head, right? Approved by, and date, put the date. So today is first. So it is first, right? And you can put that date and revision number. So this is, since this is the first revision, you can put this also, or maybe normally the first revision is draft, so you can put this also, right? Version 1.1, right? And then next time it will be version 1.2. When you put any other thing, any update on this document, you can put version 1.2, right? And then put the date accordingly and put the risk and all the information of that risk or the document, which I mean the risk that you update in this document. So anything that you make the change in this document, you have to mention it in this. It's a revision history where you track everything what has happened and when, right? So this is on the risk management today. Please post your query on the comment. I'll definitely would like to answer it. I'm going to answer those queries whatever possible, and I'm going to share this template. I can share this template with you so you can use it wherever you want to use it. That's all from my side for today. Thank you so much.